Welcome back to Beautiful Work, Beautiful Life, the podcast. I'm your host today, Laurel Boivin, and I'm so glad you're here with me. As always, Beautiful Work, Beautiful Life is a space where we dive into meaningful conversations and get curious about doing inner work to create a beautiful life. Today, I want to wrap up a theme that we've been talking about over the last few weeks, control. And today, while wrapping up the theme of control, we're going to focus on letting go of control. Now, if you like to be in control, or you find yourself trying hard to control situations and outcomes, planning every detail, fixing situations, or predicting outcomes, this episode is for you. So before we dive in, I want to take a moment and introduce myself and my podcast partner and co-host, Laurel Holland. I'm Laurel Boivin. I'm co-host of the Beautiful Work, Beautiful Life podcast. I'm also a life and leadership coach and a speaker and founder of Flux and Flow Professional Coaching. I coach early to mid-year professionals who want to improve their performance, increase their personal contribution, and experience more fulfillment and purpose in their lives and in their careers. Laurel Holland, my podcast partner and co-host, she's also a life coach and she's an author. And if you want to learn more about both of us, either of us, and learn about the clients we work with and the work that we do, you'll find links to our businesses in the show notes. Laurel will be back with me in a couple weeks when she talks with a guest, Bunny Young, and their talk is about taking messy action. And then she'll return the following week and have a conversation with me. Next month, we are going to dive into the topic of imperfection. So today, let's get into letting go of control. Can I ask, how comfortable are you letting go of control? Where is your need for control, and where does it show up in your life? Well, if your answer to the question of how comfortable you are letting go of control is much like mine, not very comfortable, you're in the right place. I have been working on control, being aware of where control shows up in my life and my need for control. And I've been working on that for, I'll say, decades. It's not easy. And sometimes I do it and feel like I'm making progress and doing well, but it's really only because I'm looking at other people around me. And if I seem to be less controlling than others, I feel good about myself. But I'm going to tell you, it doesn't matter how much or how little control you need. That control is hard. You know, we live in a world that encourages us to be in control, to take control, to work tirelessly towards specific outcomes, and to micromanage our lives and the lives of others. Is it any wonder that letting go of control can feel so comfortable or seem impossible? So why do you think letting control is so important? Letting go of control is so important? Well, in my opinion, I think it's really important because our need for control leads us to frustration and anxiety, especially when things don't go as planned, when life doesn't unfold as we thought it would. And also, when that increased frustration and anxiety appears in our life, we really are increasing our own risk of burnout. So if you listen to my recent conversation a couple weeks ago with Erica Lewis, in an episode entitled Heart-Centered Leadership with Erica Lewis, you heard Erica talking about her trying to lean into imperfection and to plan less. And then she talked about leading away from control and into the chaos. There was a little bit of conversation about flow, about releasing to be in the flow of life. So that episode, if you've not listened to it, it's a really good conversation. I'll put a link to that episode in the show notes. So this shift from control to surrender, to allowing life to unfold, to being in flow, to going with the flow, that shift can really change your life. And it can bring you greater peace and contentment all around. Letting go of control is not about laziness or apathy or giving up. It's about learning to trust, learning to tune into the present, to be in the present moment and allow life to unfold as it will, naturally. Why then, if this letting go of control is good for us, why do we struggle with letting go of control? Perhaps it's our conditioning, how we were raised, what we were taught. Maybe it's the world we live in that really does encourage us to create our life, to influence outcomes, to make things happen. Or maybe it's our own need for safety, security, certainty. Control makes us feel safe. Being in control, holding on to control, makes us feel like we have some predictability, right? Certainty. That's why we really do plan and schedule and create routines. And then when life doesn't go as planned, when our plans don't go the way that we planned, we really do. We experience frustration and increased stress and anxiety. And it also leads to a sense of disconnection from ourselves and from others. We talked a couple weeks ago about the impact impact on relationships when we have a need for control and how our control influences or plays into our relationships, how it affects our relationships, causes stress and conflict. So there are several benefits of letting go of control and surrendering to the flow that I want to talk about today. The first one is inner peace. Wouldn't you like inner peace? I would. When I think about being at peace with myself and my life, I'm not always sure I know how to create that. But surrendering to the flow means trusting that life is unfolding the way it's meant to, even if it doesn't align with our expectations. For years, I said this as if it was like a mantra. It was one of my beliefs. I used to say, everything is exactly as it's supposed to be in the universe. Now, my oldest daughter did not like that at all, especially when life didn't go as planned, when unexpected things happened, when sad, tragic, frustrating things happened. She would say, really? Everything in the universe is exactly how it's supposed to be? I couldn't explain it to her, but I knew that if I was grounded in this belief, that I could loosen my grip on control. And this mantra, it changed the way I reacted or responded when things didn't go as planned. It gave me a deep sense of faith, and it strengthened my trust in the world. So when we stop trying to create every outcome, when we stop trying to control, we free ourselves from the mental burden, the mental exhaustion of constantly planning and predicting and problem solving. I like to call this predicting, this future assumptions, for future casting is the word I use. And it reminds me, when I'm future casting, I'm really trying to control what will happen next. So this letting go of the need to control really does lead to inner peace, because we're no longer fighting against life, but we are flowing with it. Inner peace doesn't mean that life becomes perfect or free of challenges. It means that we can cultivate a sense of calm and self-confidence in the face of challenges and adversity. The second thing is that letting go of control reduces stress and anxiety. When we're constantly trying to control every aspect of our life or our lives, we place ourselves in a heightened state of stress. Our nervous system is on high alert. And whether we do it consciously or not, we're always looking for potential threats to our plans. We're worried about what might go wrong. We're trying to predict outcomes, worst case scenarios, and to prepare for worst case scenarios. And all of that has us on alert. Our nervous systems are out of whack. It's hard for us to create this calm and trust when our nervous system is looking for threats. And so this in itself can lead to anxiety and even burnout. Letting go of control alleviates that stress. It just minimizes it. It helps us balance our nervous system. When we can surrender to the flow, we allow ourselves to take one moment at a time. We can trust that we can handle whatever comes our way, one moment at a time. The third thing is this enhanced creativity and problem solving. When we need control, when we want control, when we strive to be in control, we often limit our own thinking. We close ourselves off to the world of possibilities and opportunities. So when we're planning for the future, when we're predicting outcomes, when we're future casting, we close ourselves off to new ideas, new solutions, and possibilities. But when we surrender to the flow, we open up to creative problem solving. We're much more creative. We become more adaptable and flexible. We allow inspiration and new opportunities to come through. And we live in unexpected curiosity. And the outcomes, what unfolds before us, the path our life takes, is completely unexpected and probably even better than what we could have planned. I think about this a lot in my own career. Early in my career, I planned I would graduate from college and I'd go to law school. I'd move to Washington, D.C. Life didn't go that way for me. I never could have imagined when I was so focused on that path, in that narrow vision, I never could have imagined the fun, challenging, rewarding career that I had that took me through legal services and working as a state regulator and at a utility in community relations, communications, environmental permitting, and compliance work. I never in a million years would have imagined all of that. And little did I know that if I was opened up to possibilities and curious and letting life unfold, that I would find myself in this place of being a coach, a speaker, and a podcaster. So be in that state of openness and let flow come into your life. Tap into curiosity and wonder and let yourself step into greater innovation and insight and opportunity than you ever imagined. The fourth thing that I think about a lot is the improved relationships we have when we can let go of control, when we don't need to control other people, situations, outcomes. The need for control really can lead to power struggles in a relationship. And that can break down communication and cause resentment. I've seen it in my own relationships. And by surrendering control, we can have healthier relationships. We allow others to be who they are without the need to fix them or change them. And this creates space for deeper connection, trust, and respect with ourselves and with the other that we are in relationship with. The last thing that comes to mind for me when I think about letting go of control is spiritual growth. Surrendering to the flow of life is essential in spiritual growth. Now, if you don't consider yourself to be a spiritual person, I just want to remind you that I consider spirituality to be a connection with something greater than myself. So it could be my community, it could be humanity, it could be the collective, it could be the universe, it could be the outer planets, it could be the entire galaxy, or it could be simply my community here in this place where I am today on Earth. So, surrendering is essential to spiritual growth. When we let go of control, we open ourselves up to wisdom and guidance of something greater than ourselves. We learn and grow. And this practice of surrender is an act of trust, and it allows us to cultivate a sense of faith and humanity, humility, both of those things. Surrendering to flow can also bring us into greater alignment with our true selves. It allows us to let go of our ego-driven desires and expectations and instead tune into what feels right for you, what feels authentic and meaningful and purposeful in the present. So that was a lot. I have a few maybe practical steps that might help you let go of control and surrender. You know, it can be challenging in practice, especially if you're used to being the one in charge or constantly on top of things. But there's small steps and a consistent effort that you can begin to incorporate the practice of surrender into your life. You can learn to let go of control, or at least loosen your grip on control. Here are a few things, strategies, if you will, that might help you get started. The first one is awareness. Just become aware of how control shows up in your life, when it shows up, and what your response is to situations that has you trying to control. Begin to notice your thoughts and your emotions and your physical sensations when things don't go as planned. Do you feel anxious, frustrated? Do you double down, try to get things back on track? Are you tempted to overfunction or fix things, jump into immediate action? I mean, I've done this and I still do this. It happened not that long ago in September when I was planning to drive to Colorado, and the vehicle I was delivering to Colorado needed repairs and could not go to Colorado on my timeline. The trip I ended up canceling, but right away when I was faced with this need to fix things, to take care of things, to jump into action and get things done as quick as possible so that I could still stay on track, stay on plan, and do what I was planning to do. That was a big lesson for me. And just, as I said, recently. Another strategy or tip is to practice mindfulness. So first you bring awareness, and then mindfulness, staying present in the moment without judgment. Can you not judge the situations that you're trying to control? When we're mindful, we're less likely to get caught up in thoughts about the future or ruminate on things that have already happened, right? When we overthink the past and we overplan the future, we're really not in a present mindfulness state. So one simple mindfulness practice that might help you is just to focus on your breath. When something happens that's out of your control, focus on your breath. Bring your awareness and your focus right into your breath. And what I love about breath work is it really engages. It has you focus on your heart space, and it gets you out of your head. The third thing, a strategy, is to set intentions. Boy, that was a Freudian slip. Set intentions rather than expectations. Can you put something out a thought that this would be a wonderful outcome, a wonderful turn of events, a wonderful happening or experience, but not expect it? Can you be curious and open to things that are beyond your wildest dreams? You know, a friend of mine who's also a life coach, her name is Emily Clement. Years ago, I worked with her, and she used to say this or something better whenever she was hoping and dreaming for something in the future, this or something better. So can you follow that guidance, set intentions, create goals and desires without rigid expectations, without over details or over maybe micromanaging what is that you expect, without limiting yourself? Intentions are different from expectations because they're flexible and open-ended. You know, you can acknowledge your desire, but you can let life unfold as it will. So the fourth maybe strategy, tip, is embracing an uncertainty. Now, I do want to just mention that our need for certainty and our discomfort with uncertainty is often tied to our nervous system and our safety. So how can you create safety in your life, in you, so that uncertainty can coexist with your safety? So instead of resisting uncertainty, can you make peace with it? Know that it's part of our human experience. It doesn't have to be something to fear, right? It can really be infinite possibilities and opportunities, right? When you think about magic and wonder, we can't be in awe or believe in magic if we need so much certainty and detail. So embracing uncertainty, you open yourself up to new opportunities that could be beyond, as I said, beyond what you anticipated. You also learn to cultivate resilience, and you can adapt and grow in the face of the unknown. The next strategy is trusting the timing of life. This is where you trust that everything is exactly as it's supposed to be. You trust that the timing of your life is perfect, that things happen for a reason, that even when they don't align, that they are for your highest and best self. So by trusting your life's timing, you can acknowledge that there's a greater intelligence at play. There's a greater meaning to the things that happen. So we can learn to relax into this process, knowing that things are happening the way they're supposed to at a time that really is best for us, even if we can't see it in the moment. And one of the ways, a tool that I use to kind of build my data set or proof that this is true, is I look back on a past situation and I journal, it happened for me. And I journal about all of the good things that came out of a situation that I never saw coming, that I never expected, that I couldn't have planned. And so that it happened for me exercise is a really fun one to play with. So the next strategy tip is to lean into support. You know, letting go of control doesn't mean you have to do everything alone. And this surrendering to the flow of life and letting go of control really does involve allowing others to support you, allowing others to help you. This ties into trust and allowing yourself to be supported, and trust other people and trust yourself. When we allow ourselves to be supported, we release the need to be responsible for everything and everyone on our own. That's big. We trust that help will come when we need it, that we know how to ask for it, that people care for us, love us, want the best for us, and that we're not alone on our journeys, that we are connected and supported and not alone. You know, at this time in the last several years, isolation and loneliness has been on the increase. And so when I think about this, How can you minimize the loneliness and isolation in your life wherever it shows up? How can you feel more connection and community and contribute to the world differently by being supported? So that's really a lot of what I wanted to talk about today, right? That we're not giving up on life when we let go of control or we surrender to the flow of life. We're not passive, but we're releasing this illusion that we carry with us that that control is ours, that we have control. We can let go of that illusion and we can allow life to unfold as it should, as it's supposed to. We can trust ourselves, other people, and the wisdom of life. We can trust that we are part of a bigger plan, that we are tapped into greater guidance and knowingness that maybe we don't have in the present moment. And we can experience greater peace, creativity, connection, and freedom, and less exhaustion. So I have a few journaling prompts that I'd like to share with you. These will be in the show notes because I hope if you are a journaler that you enjoy these and that in your writing, your thoughts about these questions that I'm going to bring, that you get clarity and a sense of relief and release. And if you're not a journaler, maybe you just listen to these questions and feel them in your body and think about them in your mind, right? Process them however you need to process them. So here are 5 that I have that I hope will help you explore letting go of control and surrendering to the flow of life. Number 1, what emotions arise when you think about letting go of control? And what do these emotions tell you about your relationship with control and surrender? What do the emotions tell you about your relationship with trust and faith? And maybe even others. Number 2 is, what would trusting life's timing look like in your current circumstances? This journal question really is asking you to reflect on specific situations where you are feeling impatient or frustrated with the timing of life, with the timing of outcomes. How might you fully trust everything's unfolding at the right time? And how would the situation or your frustration change if you could trust that everything was unfolding as it was supposed to? What would it look like to be patient and trusting in the present and not so focused on the future? Number 3 is, in what ways has your need for control limited your growth and creativity? This one is asking you to think about those areas in your life where you desire control or you want to control the outcomes. And that desire or that want has held you back from exploring new opportunities or embracing your creativity. How has control limited your ability to take risk and embrace change and see new possibilities or be open to new possibilities when they arrive? Number 4, what support or resources do you need to feel more comfortable surrendering to the flow of life and letting go of control? What support, emotional, physical, spiritual, practical, mental, what support do you have? And what do you need to feel safe? Are there people or practices or beliefs that can help you trust the process and flow with life more easily? Number 5 is, how can you fully embrace uncertainty as part of life's journey rather than something to fear? With this journal prompt, the ask is to reflect on the nature of uncertainty and how it's woven into the fabric of life. When I think about life, life is uncertain, and we know that. We know that by looking at the past and the things that have happened that we never imagined. How can you reflect on this? Be grateful for this. Feel the gratitude for past uncertainty in your body. And how can you shift your mindset from seeing uncertainty as a threat? How can you calm your nervous system so your nervous system doesn't respond to uncertainty as a threat, but rather you can view it, you can experience it as an opportunity for growth and learning and unexpected blessings and goodness in your life? What would your life look like? What might your life look like if you welcomed the unknown with openness? So that's all I have for you today. I know that was a lot today. There was so much to cover and so much I wanted to share with you. I've been working on letting go of control and my need for control and my need for predictability and certainty and future casting and planning. I've been working on that for a long time, and I continue to work on that. And I am so glad that you are here working on it right with me, that together we can do this. So I hope this conversation and these journal prompts and questions help you deepen your exploration of surrender. I hope you can deepen your level of trust and freedom that comes with letting go of control. I'll be back next week for more. In the meantime, if you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a review or share it with a friend or both. I appreciate you, and I am so honored that you spend time listening to these conversations, and I can't wait to see you again. Bye for now.